Hello and welcome everyone to what will be my final episode of Wasteland 2, my review of Wasteland 2. Now, if you've been keeping up with the series, you know that I've run into some problems with Wasteland 2, which is why I haven't shown the ending footage of the game, because the game keeps crashing on me. But I basically, I've beaten the game, right? I've beaten the game, and I want to tell you guys what I think of Wasteland 2. All right, the good, the bad, the Wild West. So, a quick rundown of the main plot of Wasteland 2. Wasteland 2 is a game that takes place in Arizona after a um, basically apocalyptic like disaster happens. The whole country of the USA is surrounded by radiation clouds, and there's mutants. Basically, think kind of Fallout like, right? Kind of think Fallout vibes. You take the role of a desert ranger, which is a group of people who are basically the lawmen of Arizona. They keep the peace, they help people, and they neutralize threats of humanity. You take up after the fallen ranger that was following mysterious signal broadcasts. Later on, you start fixing up some antennas and following the trail, you find out that these broadcasts are coming from California. And these broadcasts are people who do not like the Desert Rangers. They're people who want to end basically all of humanity and transcend them to machine. I'm not going to get super deep into why, but yeah, you'll face a whole bunch of factions as well when you get to California and all that other stuff. The gameplay plays like an old Fallout game because I think that some of the people who originally worked on Fallout, the first Fallout, were behind this game. So if you're into grid type style games, kind of like, Fire Emblem, you know how it is where like you move your character and then you do a select action on them, then this game's going to be perfect for you, right? It's gory, it's funny, the gameplay is fun. You can approach situations so differently. All right. So you could build the character a certain way, and it's like, oh, I can't lockpick this door, right? My character's not a lockpicker, right? But my character is really strong at kicking down walls, right? So you could take your character and kick down the door if you can't lockpick it. It's so cool, and you can have your characters be spec'd into other things as well, right? Different stats. There's like medic, there's surgeon, lockpicker, hacker, perception, a whole lot. There's a whole big amount of skills that you can get. I will say though, the beginning of this game and the second part of this game are brutal. You basically, if you're not specking your characters right, you're gonna have a hard, difficult time. There's a few weapons in this game where you have pistols, rifles, sniper rifles, energy weapons, fists, blades, bludgeoning weapons, submachine guns, and then you have the heavy weapons, which is like your rocket launchers or mini guns, and you also have grenades, but that's in like a whole different category of its own. All right, handguns are decent for the first part of the game, right? You have to get kind of close to make sure that your shots hit because you have a percentage amount depending on where your location is from the enemy, and if your enemy is hiding behind something, it also affects the hit chance, right? The higher the hit chance, the higher it is that you're going to hit your target that you're shooting for. Trust me, you want to hit the target that you're aiming for, because in this game, missing means a lot more than just, oh, my attack didn't land. Your attack could miss and it hits an innocent that's standing behind whoever you're attacking, right? So you're accidentally hitting something that you don't want to. So make sure you get your percentages very, very good. The best weapon out of the entire game, in my opinion, assault rifles. Assault rifles have good range, good power, and great accuracy. When I was using them, man, I was always above like a 50% chance of hitting my target. We had assault rifles, sniper rifles were amazing. The only problem is you have to be far away. If you're too close to something, then your chances go down. So you have to be like further than like 3 or more is like the good range. 3 or more is the good range. You have high power, but you got to make sure you got those percentages. Fists, in my opinion, are the worst weapon in this game because you have to be so close to the enemy, right? If you're using a bladed weapon or a blunt weapon, you can be like a grid away or like diagonal from your from who you're trying to hit, right? With fist weapons, you have to be right next to them. You can't be diagonal. You have to be right next to them to do an attack. And here's the thing. A lot of your enemies, they're going to have guns, right? They're going to have ranged weapons. They're going to have grenades. So getting your character to be right next to them, you better hope that your character is built like a tank. Because if they're not going to do anything for you. Okay. Now, if you have the right gear, now this goes for any weapon really, but if you have the right gear, yeah, it can do a whole lot of damage. It can do a crazy amount of damage. But, you know, practicality, you have to be right next to them. That's a lot of action points wasted. And even when you get close to an enemy, enemies don't like you being close to them. So after your turn, if they're still alive, when it's their turn again, they're gonna run. They're gonna run, and then like probably take a pop shot at you, right? And you do the whole thing until either one of your party goes down. Speaking of which, going down, there is a permadeath system in this game. Even on the easiest difficulty, there's a permadeath system. However, there's a caveat where if you have a character who is a skilled surgeon with a suturing kit, it's either a suture kit or a revive kit, you can bring your character back as long as they're still on life support, is what I like to call it. You have to make sure that you get them before the life support runs out. And you'll know it because you'll hear a loud like flat line that signals that they're in that danger state, right? And you'll hear heartbeats as well, telling you that your character's in danger when you're down, and you'll see a red bar. Once that red bar runs completely out, your character's gone. Your character's not coming back. Now, there's also a second down state where they appear to be down, but they can get back up during the fight. How do we differentiate the two? I got no clue. I put 70 something hours, like 72 hours into this game. Cannot tell you what is the thing that brings them back up and not. So there are times when you don't have to use a suture kit, but make sure you have at least, I'd say, at least 2 surgeons on the team and maybe 3 people who know medical but have one person be your like go-to medical person, right? Kind of assign them as a role. Like I had a character named Sarah who was my sniper, but she was also my medic, right? So she was far behind where the enemy couldn't get her, so she was usually safe. And her being a sniper worked out even better because she's far away. She can hit them, they can't hit her. I also turned her into basically a tank where nobody but like boss enemies could hurt her. But yeah, it's a. If you really enjoyed old school Fallout, I'd highly recommend this game. There's funny Easter eggs, like there's a character when you go to California, they sing the "Walking in LA" song. You'll find the Atari ET cartridges buried out in the wasteland. It's a random like encounter. Right? You'll not a random encounter, but if you're walking around the map, you'll find caches, which is like loot and stuff. You'll find the Atari version of ET, and there's hundreds of these cartridges, and they're all worthless. It's funny if you know the Easter eggs, little tiny things. The best thing about this game is you can play how you want. Um, as for like, do your actions really matter? For the most part, no. Right? For the most part, no. Depending on what you do, you can have more allies for that final battle. So you can have some allies back you up, take some heat or like chip away at enemies' health. So that is good, right? So you don't want to do what I did for the most part and just like clear out every single, group of people. All right. You can do that if you want to. Of course, you're gonna miss large quest lines and XP chances. I'd highly recommend doing the side quests for whatever group. So like, there was the group that was like eating other, people. I have to. I don't know if YouTube would get angry at me for saying that because I don't know how YouTube is anymore. But yeah, so basically, they were doing that, and you had a quest, and I accidentally had hit circle, which ended the conversation, and they took that as like, oh, you're gonna be hostile. So I had to clear out the entire camp because they were attacking me, and I didn't quick save beforehand. Also, quick save often. Quick save like like a save scum. I'd recommend that, because if you mess up or die or heaven forbid the game crashes, and I'm gonna get to that in a bit. You'll lose a lot of your progress. Now I said Wasteland 2, the good, the bad, the crazy, right? Now it's time for the bad. There are some things that seem a little bit meh to me, right? Certain areas had random power spikes. So when you're first on that first map, right? It's not gonna be too bad. All right. When you're in your first fight, it's gonna be really tough because it's your first fight and you're getting used to the systems. You're getting better gear, especially if you haven't outfitted your characters a good way. But that's not too bad, right? The second you start getting into the canyon, right? When you get to the canyon area and you have the Children of Adam wannabes, that's where the game starts getting a little bit hard, but it's not too hard. All right, that area wasn't too bad. I had some close calls, but it wasn't too bad. When you go to California, oh my god, you will think that your characters are super strong until you realize that your gear is like 7 levels lower than everyone else's gear, and your one character that was doing damage does 0, right? I had my one character, they were a submachine gunner, which submachine guns aren't really that great, to be honest. She was doing pretty good, right? Submachine guns, multiple shots, it frequently jams, like you can get multiple shots off. They do okay damage. Not great, not super well, not terrible. They do okay damage. They jam more than they're worth, though. Anyway, she was doing damage. We get to California, right? New enemy comes, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're powerful. You know, we'll get through this. She hits 3 shots, right? She has 3 shots off. All of them do 0. All of them did 0 damage. So California is going to be the big thing that humbles you. And here's the bad part, right? When you get to California, you'll encounter radiation zones. Now, throughout the game, there's radiation zones going from 1 to 6, right? In the first map, you're going to experience 1 to 4. That's not too bad. I even walked in a few of these radiation clouds, and it hurts walking through those radiation zones without the proper radiation suits. Let me tell you, it hurts like a mofo, right? It will quickly drain your health, but walking through 1 through 4, you can walk through it. The second you get to California, it'll be introduced to 5 and 6. You cannot walk into 5 and you cannot walk into 6. The second you touch that radiation cloud and you don't have a level 5 or higher radiation suit, you will instantly die. Instantly die. No cutscene, no nothing, insta dead. It was also around California, the second half of the game, where a lot of the game's troubles started to appear. And by troubles, I alluded to it before, the game crashed often when we get to the second part. When I was first playing this game, I had no trouble. Not a single time did it crash. I could play and play and play, and it was amazing. It was awesome. It was such a great time. The second we got to California, crash, 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 crash. I even was on the last stage of the game, right? And I had gotten through a tough fight. I didn't quick save, and I was seconds, not minutes, not hours, seconds away from ending the game. The game crashed because for some reason, my one character named Frank, who was my second rifleman, he got stuck on something invisible, and the game couldn't process that, I think, and it crashed. So be warned that the game does have a tendency, at least for me, around the second half to crash a lot. Now, despite that, this game is still really good. I'd say the first half of the game is definitely a lot more enjoyable than the second half. Second half's just kind of like a slog for me for some reason. But yeah, the game made me laugh a lot, especially when creating my character. This game, I gave this game a 5 out of 5 on PlayStation. Even despite the crashes, right? Despite the crashes, this game was really good. It was a long game. I enjoyed that. It challenged me. I enjoyed that as well. And if I had to give it a score out of 10, I would give it I give it an 8.5. I would rank it higher except for the crashes. Really, it's just the crashes that make the game unenjoyable. The crashes make this game really unenjoyable because the characters are great. Some characters are assholes. Some characters are the sweetest characters, and some characters you just know right off the bat, yeah, we're gonna just destroy this guy's compound. The ability to do whatever you want in a lot of situations feels so great, and it has such more replayability for how you could handle different situations. As for game changing decisions, like I said, there's not really game changing decisions all that much, right? You can change small things like, oh, this person is now the mayor of this town in this one area, right? There's that. But then in the beginning, right, you're sent off to follow the footsteps of Ace, which is the ranger who died, whose mission you uptake in finding the radio frequencies. When you're going toward the radio tower, you get a call from two places, right? One place is being overridden by mutants, like mutant vegetables, pod people, etc. The other place is a small town that's being raided by, I think, bandits, either raiders or robots. I can't remember exactly because I went for the ag center first, right? I did that, and when I went to the other area, well, not even when I went to the other area, going through the ag center, I heard over the in-game radio, you could hear them being overrun in the other place. So that whole place, when we got to them, was wiped out, and we couldn't do any business there. And the people there hated us because we didn't show up. So there is a little bit of game-changing stuff, but it's not a game where you'd play solely for that. It's a game where you play to have multiple ways of handling a situation, whether it be doing a person's quest or just saying, screw it, we're gonna destroy this whole compound and get in a fight with people. It's a game where if you enjoyed the original Fallout, right, you'd enjoy this. It's a game where if you enjoy grid style combat, moving your character, building your character a certain way, this is a game for you. It's a great game, great Easter eggs, great jokes, and all around. Other than the crashes, it's a good, fun time. So I would rank weapons as assault rifle, sniper rifle, pistol, SMG, shotgun, blade, blunt, fist. Right? I'd label it that. And if you're wondering about grenades, like I said, grenades are kind of in a class of their own, but it all depends on the type of grenade that you really get, right? Because there's like the atom grenades, there's the other stuff. But if we're being honest, grenades are mostly situational weapons. And like technically it's like, well, every weapon's a situational weapon. Like, fair point. But really, you're only gonna use grenades when they're grouped up. And a large time, when they're grouped up, they're too far away for you to throw anything like that. So basically, just stick with assault rifles, sniper rifles, pistols, and like maybe have one character be an S. Oh wait, no. Assault rifle, sniper rifle, energy weapon, then the rest that I said, right? Energy weapons are really good. Don't believe people who say, oh, energy weapons aren't really that great. They do not know what they're talking about. Energy weapons are amazing. They got great range, and once you start going up against machines more, because obviously you can see on the title screen, there's a robot scorpion, right? Once you start going up against robots and other things that conduct metal, energy weapons are going to be your friend because they do ridiculous damage. So yeah, this game's a really good game. I'd recommend checking it out next time it goes on sale. And I will be playing Wasteland 3 when it comes when it goes back on sale. I will be playing Wasteland 3. I also want to get my hands on another game that's like Wasteland. But I'd have to wait for that and see how low it goes on sale. So yeah. Without further ado, my name's Ben. My name's Ben. My name's Zen. I hope you enjoyed my verbal review of Wasteland 2, director's cut, and I hope that after hearing this game, you at least consider playing it. I understand that the crashes would deter people, and that's fair. That's fair. It was that's the only thing that made the game feel unbearable was the frequent crashes in the second part of the game. Anyway, take care, stay safe, have fun, and stay spooky. I'll see you in the next one, where hopefully I'll be playing something fun until Wasteland 3 goes on sale. I'll probably be trying out Graveyard Keeper because it's free right now. Graveyard Keeper is free because the sequel's coming out. So I'll probably give that a little test run. But yeah, bye bye.